We sometimes cover Dave Rubin's podcast called Actual Friends, where he hangs out with his actual friends, Sage Steele, and then the one and only Russell Brand, who is a media personality as well as someone who has recently pled not guilty to charges of rape and sexual assault in London court. So he is, it's a little unclear to me why he's doing this podcast. And that's why I cover this podcast. I find it just interesting. I'm like, what's going on here? It's a small channel. You know, it seems like Dave Rubin is running it from what I can gather because it's run very similar to his main channel. The text on the thumbnails is actually the same as his main channel. So it just seems like it's run by him. So yeah, he was out for this past month, and this is his first episode back because Dave takes a month off every year, which is cool. You know, I respect that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's something wrong with like his approach to political commentary, in my opinion, but not taking a month off. And then he comes back. Sage is getting married, so she's not on this episode, but she pops in really briefly. And this is just an episode like they just like kind of chat, like they almost don't even cover politics until like here, and it's kind of all about how like Dave enjoyed taking a month off of politics, blah blah blah. But they do get into, you know, a lot of like extremely unhelpful perspectives, in my opinion, on various things going on. But yeah, it is just interesting to me that Russell's doing this, and I imagine it's like, because I'm like, okay, Dave's running this podcast, I guess, or like it's run by some sort of, do they have a bigger? I thought maybe they did. No, they don't have like a brand. Yeah, they do. Sorry, Vision Entertainment. Yeah, you see that. They do have a brand. You know, I don't know. Vision Entertainment, LA-based agency offering talent management. I mean, really? Is that actually who's running it? Like, I mean, I don't know if this is the same one. It's production. You know what I mean? Like, what are they really doing this? I don't want to link this. Like, who? Vision Entertainment. Is it this one? I mean, is it this? Fully integrated? I mean, no. It doesn't. No, of course it's not. The current music and art industry of Africa? No, it's not. So who is a premier DJ and entertainment? No, it's not any of these. Like, so I don't know who Vision Entertainment is, but whatever. They're probably some company, you know, and I find it very funny, like just like the whole vibe of the podcast. It's very funny to me. Like, why is Russell doing it? Why is Dave doing it? I can understand most why Sage Steele is doing it, because it seems like kind of where she's at. Like, she does this type of like, why I left the left, like the left is so crazy, like the right wing is kind of chill, you know. I can understand why Dave's doing it too, I guess. I don't know. He already has his show, and it's like, he does tours where, you know, he tries to make sure he's not taking money from the Russian government anymore. He seems to collaborate with war criminals, in my opinion, and promote the positions of war criminals. He has a tequila brand. Sorry, I'm just trying to back up the war criminals thing. It's just he posts a lot, you know. Yeah, he went to Israel after meeting privately with Netanyahu, I believe. Wow, did he delete the... No. Yeah, so calls him King Bibi because he likes war criminals. This is Dave, thrilled to meet one of the most atrocious war criminals of our time, who has humiliated and endangered all Jews like me for many years to come through his abysmal work. So Dave is thrilled to be with him. So I'm surprised that he then makes this podcast. I don't know exactly what it is. Russell, I could see doing this to like, you know, he has his main show too, but like maybe he wants to have a side thing that he's doing. And like maybe it kind of humanizes him a little bit in some way. I'm just trying to understand why they do it. Like, they're obviously getting paid, but like, who's paying them? Because it's not like, I mean, this channel is monetized, but they're not making money. Like, this is the recent episode. It has 4,000 views. Like, they got together for 45 minutes. They get 4,000. You know, some of their clips will blow up, but some of them will not even break 1,000 views. Like, you know, some of them do blow up, right? I saw a few. Okay, 14,000. Yeah, here, they had this one about Sydney Sweeney blow up because they got what's his name on, who's an absolute pathetic loser, seemingly. I just don't really understand. Yeah, they've had some of these clips blow up, and so that you can make some money from that for sure. I mean, but like, is it enough to really like, are they really all getting paid? And they started with that like weird, like, seemingly opportunist political commentator Jillian Michaels, and then she had like a contract dispute apparently and couldn't be on it anymore. That's what it seemed to have happened. Wow. So YouTube knows what people want to see is the moment where Russell stood up because like Dave was asking him about his pants and saying like do you believe in the not wearing white pants after Labor Day thing? And Russell's like, what? And Dave's like, yeah, that's like a Hamptons crowd thing, is that you don't wear white after Labor Day. And Russell's like, oh yeah, but make some joke about it. And it's like, Dave, you don't wear white pants after Labor Day? Like, okay, yeah, I guess I've heard of that. I mean, I didn't know it was about pants. I thought he was wearing white. I didn't know it was about pants. But anyway, it sort of connects with them talking about her wedding and is Russell going to go? And so also this is, I know I haven't even played a clip yet, but this is funny to me because it's called Actual Friends. That's the last reason why it's funny to me, because that's a strange thing to name a podcast. I guess I've never fully addressed how strange that is, because a lot of podcasts are like friends. Like when a podcast involves multiple people, usually they are friends in a lot of cases, not in all cases. Obviously, there's tons of situations where they're just professional work coworkers, and that's cool. Nothing wrong with that at all. But if you're, and I, obviously do a solo podcast because, I'm kind of in a league of my own podcast wise, I think. I don't know if it's in a good way or a bad way, but so to say that they're actual friends says two things. One, it insists, it doth protest a little too much that they are friends. And what it does is, in this subtle, implicit way, tries to point out that they're famous. Or something. It seems to be like, well, we're not just doing this because we're three. This is not just to make a supergroup powerhouse of famous celebrities. Obviously, Russell is orders of magnitude more famous than Dave Rubin, who is one or two orders of magnitude, I think, more famous than Sage Steele. Maybe not. Maybe they're at the same level. But I find them a funny trio because they're like, so Dave is going to her wedding, according to this video. So what I think is going on is Dave and Russell have done many interviews throughout the years. So they have a relationship, and Dave probably has a relationship with Sage. And Russell and Sage probably barely knew each other at all. And that's what it seemed like was Dave was the in-between. And Jillian Michaels too, like the whole like first few episodes, like Russell assumes that Jillian Michaels is heterosexual, and it's like they have it's included in the podcast where he's embarrassed because he assumed she was straight and she's married to a woman and she's gay. So it's like, he obviously doesn't know her at all, and he just says, oh, well, I like her Twitter and stuff. So it is funny, like Dave's obviously the conduit. They had to lose Jillian Michaels for whatever reasons. Sage and Russell might know each other. Anyways, this was a weird episode. I watched it on double speed while I was like eating lunch or something. So Dave comes back to podcasting, and Russell is, super normal. And you can tell that they're good friends because, good friends will always, make jokes. They'll roast each other a little bit in good fun, right? That's just a normal thing you do.
The cream vendor,
No.
Or Crockett or Tubbs or, that's more your kind of reference, right? You live in that kind of...
So I'm just showing you the build-up. I didn't understand what they were talking about here. Miami Vice. Okay.
That's it.
So yes, your kids are going back to school and all that. So you stayed. You were on the grid. You were paying attention to the news. I didn't miss anything, did I?
I didn't leave the grid for a second. I was all over that grid. That grid was running through me continually. I was fully matrixed up.
So yeah, they're just having some good rapport back and forth. I'm just showing you the build up just to, get some vibes. But yeah, here, let's have some roasting.
Through me continually. I was fully matrixed up while you were doing, having sort of cleanses and I imagine rectal activity of a variety of, I don't know, don't you do colonics?
So I guess Russell's trying to cover and be like, oh, I wasn't making a gay joke about you and your husband having sex. I wasn't like inappropriately 3 minutes into our podcast talking about you and your husband having sex. So the last time we looked at a Russell and Dave conversation, I was pointing out that several times Russell made comments about Dave being gay, and I was sort of being like, isn't that kind of like not, it doesn't seem super mutualistic, it doesn't seem like super fun. So that's roasting here. I guess, when I roast my friends, usually it feels a little bit more good-natured and vice versa when they roast me, but to just be like, oh, you were probably doing. First of all, Russell said one word about himself. Dave asked about Russell. Russell says one word about himself, throws it back to Dave, and makes a comment about Dave having rectal activities on his vacation, and then trying to cover by being like, oh, I bet you were. I mean, like, colonics. I don't mean you and your husband making love that I'm referring to. I mean, Russell, it's not cool. Like, when you have gay friends, don't just like mention that they're gay all the time, because it makes it seem like it's on your mind. And then, like, look, you got your cross. Like, yeah, we get it. You're like a very religious guy now. That's really cool. That's great. You know, it's cool. Honestly, it's cool for you, and it might even be like really a good thing for you in a lot of ways. You don't have to be homophobic, though. You know what I mean? Like, that's the part of religion that's not even the religion. That's just the BS stuff. That's not even the spiritual side of it.
Anna leaves by a Mexican woman for 5 hours who then stood on my back. I also got a massage.
Darling. That was actually a trend while you were inside, while you were away doing sort of a privileged time. Everyone was wrapping themselves in banana.
You know, super good vibes, super not tense, not awkward. So yeah, that's just a nice gay joke to start off the podcast. And then there's like a Jew joke, because Dave Rubin is also Jewish. So Russell just shows some more good-natured roasting, I guess.
You got toxins everywhere, and they're trying to get them out of you. And then the banana leaves, and then I guess the sitting on, it's a pressure thing.
As an American and as a Jew, you're obviously circumcised, so at least you don't have to deal with that crevice.
So in the process of Dave talking about going on vacation and getting this fancy massage and all these whatever, like, you know, body treatment stuff, now Russell makes a joke about Dave Rubin likely being circumcised. So we've had a joke about rectums, and then we've had a joke about Dave's penis in the first 4 or 5 minutes. So Russell is, I guess, showing just how good friends they are. I mean, as a listener myself, like, I joke about this stuff. I don't care. Like, you know, you can talk about this stuff. But the context is such that it's bizarre. Like, it's so out of the blue. Like, to be like, oh, and you're probably circumcised, so that's one place they didn't have to clean is under the foreskin of your penis. It's like, yeah, dude. You really said what I was thinking about that one. And then he does a Spanish accent. What?
And I was a little tapped out at that point.
Sir, you're going to pay a lot more for that, let me tell you. Oh, I suppose it'd be, sir, a lot more I can tell you, because, you know, Mexico, I don't know which racist accent to do.
That was a very bizarre Mexican accent.
I guess, like, you can do accents, but it's like, again, it's just so random. It doesn't add... The comedy is just so random. And it seems to be like at other people's expense. I wonder if Russell was a bully in like high school. Not that people, you know, stay how they are, but it just seems like his comedy is at other people's expense. I just thought it was funny when Sage joins and they're talking about her wedding. Like, her wedding was like, you know, coming up in like a day or two. I just thought it was funny that Dave was asking about like the black tie, because that's how I feel if I'm invited to a wedding and they say black tie. I'm like, what is that? Is it really black tie? Like, what does that mean? Dave just does the same thing.
A setup right there. And it's going to be an incredible day. So we're really looking forward. Can I ask you though, you guys wrote black tie. Now, does that mean I must be in full tuxedo, or I have a seriously sharp Ted?
Sage. It's just like you know that like as you're going to get married, there's so much stress, there's so much stuff you're juggling, and like she's probably had this question from like several men.
Baker black suit with a beautiful. But you want full on tuxedo? Like I have to be like Jim Carrey and Liar.
Listen,
Dumb and Dumber.
I trust you. And I trust your taste. Yes, black tie, and women are in black dresses. You're not with a woman, you're with a man. But like, if
we'll get him in a black dress.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, you know, you can tell like it's nice. Yeah, there is some friendship here for sure. And so, yeah, I just thought that was, that's so relatable, when you're invited to a wedding and you're like, do I have to actually wear a black tie? Oh, yeah, more gay jokes. Let's check it out.
Starting to see ways that we could make it work, but I'd be coming on my own. And
So Dave's like, Russell, you got to come to Sage's wedding. That's sort of the context. It's sort of the whole episode. He's like, you got to come to Sage's wedding. I don't really get it, because you would think if the wedding is days away, you would think like he's made his decision already, right? I mean, but I guess if you're a celebrity, you could just do stuff, and he's rich, he can just take a jet whenever. But it's a little, it's strange. It's like parasocial. Like, I don't need to know about all this, but okay, I guess that's what a podcast is.
Starting to see ways that we could make it work, but I'd be coming on my own. And what you just said about hot pink, that was appealing, actually. So
Dave made a joke about Russell wearing hot pink or something. I don't know why Russell would be going on his own. He has I guess, yeah, he has a wife and kids, but I guess he wouldn't want to like get childcare and go with his wife or something. He's not that close with Sage. So I mean, he was probably invited as like, I know you're not going to come, but like, we're work associates, like you're invited type of thing.
Maybe hold on a second. Phoenix is coming. Phoenix, and you're not bringing a +1, right? Phoenix is flying solos.
So someone on Dave's staff, I guess.
So you could
give me my date.
You guys could have a good time.
What? So let's see the very normal way Russell reacts to this joke.
You could
give me my date.
You guys could have a good time.
Well, I don't think I'm going to turn homosexual just because Sage Steele's getting married, Dave. You are a good advert for the lifestyle, I'll warrant. But the fact is, I've grown attached to my wife.
It just meant two guys could show up to a place together. You don't have to go.
It's really awkward, right? It's really awkward. Because, like, at that point, like, Dave's gay joke was perfectly reasonable. Dave's a gay man joking that Russell, and Russell, like, kind of takes it a little seriously. And it's like, dude, for someone who was making jokes about rectums and foreskins, like, you have to react, like, with some amount of seriousness. I don't think I'm going to turn homosexual. Yeah, that's why it was a joke, dude. And, like, nice use of the word homosexual. Like, you can use the word homosexual, but like, I'm not gonna turn like, and then did he say you're an advert for the lifestyle?
Well, I don't think I'm gonna turn homosexual just because Sage Steele's getting married, Dave. You are a good advert for the lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, people could go, well, they could tell me I'm nitpicking. It's just like calling it a lifestyle is like kind of pointed. You're talking to a gay person and you call being gay a lifestyle. Is that a joke? Styles are often implied that you could like choose to change it. So it's not the best word to describe an identity. So kind of awkward. And then they kind of play it off, and then Dave has to like play it off like he wasn't making a gay joke, but he was, which was fine. It was a gay joke. Like, it was fine. It was not a big deal.
I'll warrant. But the fact is, I've grown attached to my wife.
I just meant two guys could show up to a place together. You don't have to go. You don't have to go homo.
I heard Phoenix say date in the background. I heard that word. It's on
he
tape.
Meant bro date. That's what the guys are doing now.
There's nothing called bro dates.
Bro date.
That seems like you trying to package homosexuality more and more. You're doing what people accuse people of doing in Florida schools. You're trying to advertise it.
Like, this is kind of funny, but it's also like it has this slight undercurrent of it doesn't seem like a total joke. Like, not that Russell actually thinks Dave is like trying to convince him to be gay, but I get this sense that Russell has some cognitive dissonance because he interprets his religion in a slightly more, I don't think he's a fundamentalist full on. I don't know the exact definition of that, but he seems like he actually is uncomfortable with people being gay, just based on his interactions with Dave that I've seen. So it is kind of interesting to see this undercurrent where it just feels tense. And it is interesting that Russell says people accuse teachers of pushing that it's okay to not be straight, because it sort of sounds like he's implying he knows that it's bullshit when people accuse folks of that. But I do think Russell seems to be uncomfortable with Dave being gay. And in the previous interviews they've done throughout the years, like, they did not seem to be friends. I should have mentioned that. Like, It seemed more like they had a professional relationship. Would Russell go to Dave's wedding? I don't think he did. I don't think they knew each other back then, but I'd be surprised.
You know, you're making gay jokes over there. Meanwhile, can one of you guys hand me your rosy glasses? This is what I'm dealing with over here. I got 3 guys here,
I was really confused by this.
all wearing these in studio.
Oh, really? They're all
You know
doing
about
that now.
these? You know about
Do you
these
even
rosy
know-
glasses?
Are they sponsors of yours?
They're not that I know of, but apparently these 3 all have some sort of light deficiency in their eyes and stare at me all day through these things. Makes me think I'm up against Cyclops. You know what I mean?
I don't know about that, but it's like I don't know what those glasses are, but it looks like some sort of like they cut out certain amounts of light. Like, why is his whole staff wearing that? Like, what? I mean, yeah, if people have to wear those at their job, I feel that, like, whatever. But like, is that a weird coincidence? I missed one point I wanted to mention. There was like a weird comment about Sage.
Put brown sugar in your nose.
Oh, leave.
She's like off of sugar, and Russell's making a kind of funny joke about how like she was like confused about something for a second. And he was like, "Eat some sugar," you know. So which of those, you know, it's fairly funny. But yeah, then there's like a weird thing that happens.
I see it. I love you. Bye.
If you can't do that, she's too old to get
Oh,
married.
she's having a hard time turning off the video call. Yeah.
God, now
She can't manage technology to that degree. She's got no business trying to manage male genitalia in what seems like the fragile autumn of her life.
Dave's like, that was inappropriate. Like, you're going to say that about your coworker, Russell. Like, Russell, she's your coworker. And you just, like, I don't know if that's technically sexual harassment, but, like, it seems like if you talk about your coworker and, like, their ability to what?
Trying to manage male genitalia.
Their ability to manage male genitalia, let alone, like, on their wedding day or the day before their wedding, right after they hang up a call with you, on a public thing that's recorded and published. Like, why do you need to put the image in our heads of Sage having sex with her fiance or her husband? Like, again, it's so random, Russell. Just like learn impulse control, dude. I know you know it. I know Russell's probably spoken publicly many times about how much he's working on his impulse control and all that, because he's in recovery from addiction, and that's a real challenge. And it's like, you know, if he's staying sober, like, that's awesome. Like, good for him. And I think he is. I don't have any reason to think he's not. I don't really know I don't watch his show. But like, often it's really a lifetime journey of working on your impulse control, whether you've been in addiction or not. But certainly if you're in recovery from addiction, that's going to be one of the central challenges, is maintaining consistent ability to practice effective impulse control. And like, dude, you can just sometimes like not say things. Like, Dave knows how to host a podcast. Like, he'll cover for you. You're protesting too much. Like, you're just like being a bit extra. Like, making a comment about Sage and comparing her ability to hang up a video call to her ability to have sex with her husband is bizarre, dude. That's super weird and uncomfortable. And Dave knows it. Dave's like, that's weird. I'm going to have to talk to Sage about that and apologize for you.
And in what seems like the fragile autumn of her life.
In what seems like the fragile autumn of her life. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Sage Steele is 52 years old and Russell Brand is 50 years old. They were born 2 years apart. But she's in the fragile autumn. Hey, who knows? He would probably say he's in the fragile autumn of his life too. Maybe when you hang up a call with your coworker, don't talk about them having sex with their soon-to-be husband and then call them old.
that basically ended like every phone call with my parents. Somebody thinks they hung up. They didn't hang up. I then hear them talking about me for 12 minutes. It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I hang up if that's happening. I just can't take any more of that.
Okay, so what else do we have? Oh, not another gay joke. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, dude?
Exactly as you are. Maybe they're just trying to adjust from the charcoal glow in your skin.
My skin does feel, you know, you can make fun of the charcoal or whatever, but I feel moist and delicious.
You look it, man. You look moist and delicious. As I say, you're a good advert for the lifestyle.
I appreciate it. Well, all right. So Sage is going to...
That's kind of Dave in a moment.
I appreciate it. Well, all right. So Sage is going to...
Okay, so anyways, I thought this was funny where Dave's kind of like being a little bit vulnerable and he's explaining how he likes attention, but not like too much.
I also think that, just like getting away a little bit from that, I don't think I'm an egomaniac at all, actually, relative to the work that I do. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people that do this that are like, they love that thing. I kind of like the limelight of it. You know what I mean? Like, I like the secondary light, not necessarily like the central light,
I was just a little bit confused because, like, in my understanding, like, limelight is the central light. A brilliant, intense light once produced by heating. Oh, I don't need the AI overview. Thanks. I can actually click on the link. A stage light instrument producing illumination. The white light produced by such an instrument to center attention on. That's what limelight means. It's not like the limelight is the secondary light. It's not the secondary light, dude. That's what the limelight is the main light. I agree that I don't think Dave is an egomaniac. I think he's a little vain. And I think he's a little like, yeah, he seems to really like fancy things in a way that's probably like indicates vanity. But mainly I just think he doesn't care about the effect he's having on the world. And he lacks an ability to really take responsibility for his output. But I don't think it's a egomania. I think it's like a lack of motivation to care about the influence he's been having. So limelight is just the main light, though.
Do this that are like, they love that thing. I kind of like the limelight of it. You know what I mean? Like, I like the secondary light, not necessarily like the central light, like.
And I like attention too, there's a reason we go into these types of work. It's okay to like attention. We all need attention to different amounts. Here they talk about V for Vendetta, obviously. But their version of authoritarianism is a little bit different from what I think of it as.
Movies. I'm sure you've seen it, and it's about your native land, and it's one of my top 3 favorite movies of all time. V for Vendetta.
Yeah.
Do you remember that incredible? It's an unbelievably wonderful, powerful movie. I mean, it almost explains COVID 10 years before COVID came out.
It explains COVID because their version of authoritarianism is the government having public health initiatives and people having to make compromises for the greater good of the public. That's authoritarianism. It's a cult to want to do public health. It's an authoritarian cult to want to care about your neighbors and if you want kids to get vaccinated. But why? Are you a totalitarian? Oh my gosh. You want fewer deaths? You want 1.4? What did we say? How many Americans didn't die because of the vaccine? What did we say? 1.4 million? These are 2 men who think RFK is not lying. These are 2 people who are honestly very, very stupid or more likely complicit. They probably just don't care enough to find out. Most of the time people are wrong, not because they went through all the information and came to a different perspective, but because they have different things limiting them from going through the steps of actually undergoing any sort of experience with the subject matter in any sort of depth that would inform an actually worthwhile opinion on it. So these are two rubes or grifters, and they actually think RFK is not lying. They don't understand that public health is extremely important and that the vaccines are safe and effective and saved a lot of lives. They're liars or they're rubes or they're grifters or something. Who knows? But let's see more of their... this is really essential. Like the thing you have to understand about the Nazis and about totalitarian governments, but especially the Nazis, is actually some of the first groups that they targeted were sick people. And, I don't know the exact timeline of every single motion, every single legislation passed, every single, order passed and so on. But I know that some of the first groups targeted were sick people, people with disabilities. And that is a central part of fascism, is that you have to jettison anyone who's vulnerable, because they are particularly people who understand the value of a civilized society, really. As there's no other way to put it. So people who need a voice most and need support from others most are jettisoned because they represent what the state should be doing, rather than funneling all its resources towards an ideological end that does not actually benefit people, but a very, very small few. I've gone into so much detail, but I do have a few more points. Yeah, so this point about COVID, they continue to talk about COVID, and they say things that I think their friends and family are probably deeply ashamed of them saying.
In the pandemic, it was exposed that what they want, this kind of, phantom thread style sickness and dependency, that you're eating addictive food that's bad for you.
So he does this sort of freewheeling stuff. It does get hard to follow, even when you do have all the context. But because he's more of like a riffer, he should just be at like open mics in random cities, just kind of riffing rather than having a platform with like thousands of viewers. But yeah, he's sort of, it's kind of a disgusting way to talk about COVID, to call it a phantom, what was it? Phantom thread?
In the pandemic, it was exposed that what they want, this kind of, phantom thread style sickness and dependency, that you're eating addictive food that's bad for you. You're taking medication that maybe to some degree mitigates your condition, but requires that you sustain it.
I agree with this point about us having instead of a healthcare industry, like a sick industry where we are led to be sick through a lot of ways: lack of access to healthy food, lack of free time to do exercise, the fact that we're just like squeezed for every morsel of surplus labor value, essentially. So I agree with these points, and that obviously the profit motive makes the healthcare industry an industry rather than something like the post office, where it's based around meeting people's needs. Ideally, I agree with this obvious thrust, and this is why people get hoodwinked by Russell Brand, is because he does criticize these sort of like profit motives of our society, but he doesn't understand really where the problems are. Like he's talking about this in a way that I find very unhelpful.
You don't want medicine that you only take once or twice and then you don't take it again. You don't want a population of people that are able to do 50, 100 push-up, pull-up. That's not what they're breeding. They're breeding blobs and consumers.
But none of that really pertains to COVID. And really, if anything, the vaccine is a great example of something you take once a year and it decreases your risk of hospitalization and death.
Maybe some elite forces. And I started to think, Dave, that maybe the macro crisis that we're experiencing was something that's preempted by the brilliant film House I Live In, which is a film about addiction out of your country, made by the guy that made The Wire. Actually,
okay, I don't think I care about all of this. Wait, do I?
He was the auteur and writer of The Wire, I understand. He said that the meth pandemic, which was the primary addiction crisis prior to the opioid crisis that followed it, he goes that really it's been brought about because America is unable to deal with the idea that it no longer requires the bottom 20% of its population. That once you would have needed a peasant class, a serf class for agriculture, then an industrial working class for the manufacturing industries in Europe and in your country. Now we're on the precipice of not needing that at all. So the only value is, can you eat, can you take medicine, and when can we justify annihilating you? And I, in my more conspiratorial moments, do think population control stuff is the next natural step as technology advances into.
Wow, I would really be curious then, Russell, what you think we should do about that. If you think that's all the case, what do you think we should do about it? Because I don't disagree with the idea that powerful elites want to control the amount of labor power in the population and want to control migration and potentially population levels in various areas. At some points that might be important to certain, very powerful people for reducing cost of labor or, altering certain macro level, aspects of the economy. But it leads to the obvious question of, so then what should be done about it? And that's when things get interesting. Are you talking about universal basic income? Are you talking about finding ways to make, because those people exist, right? Everyone exists, whether or not there's and I do think the capitalist enterprise tries to squeeze every dollar out of people. And, that's why we see people getting locked up in jail so that people can profit off of them having their freedom stripped away from them. And all kinds of other ways people profit from unjust situations. But yeah, what should be done about it? I mean, a universal basic income doesn't just solve the problem, obviously. It's a very complicated problem. If we do have, I think this is what Marx called industrial reserve army. Essentially, and it's not necessarily a new thing. There's always been parts of the population that are, sometimes the capitalists want more labor to be available. Sometimes they want less for complicated reasons. And I think there's always people who are superfluous to capitalism because capitalism wants to hire as few people as possible, as profitable, because the labor is a huge cost for a lot of enterprises, and they want to, and it's a cost that can be harder to control, or you have to deal with the human element of things. So yeah, I mean, I just wonder. So then, what do you think should be done, Russell? Obviously, you don't think we should just like kill 20% of the population, obviously, right? So what do you think should be done about that? And how does this have to do with the government saying that we should protect public health when there's something like a pandemic?
I mean, you're giving me like 10 different Philip K. Dick sci-fi novels there, right? Like there's a little bit of Scanner Darkly there. I mean, there's all sorts of...
I didn't write this down, but I just want to check. What was it? It was a really weird comment made about the recent mass shooting, murder of several children in a church, by, I guess, a trans person. And that's all Dave says about it when he's talking about news he missed.
Jillian, our friend Jillian, got me caught up yesterday. And, obviously some stuff happened, Putin and Trump, and there was the shooting by the trans person. And, so it was, but
Russell maybe feels it a little bit deeper because it was at a church and he's Christian. But Dave, just to say it like that, I mean, it was kind of more about the people being murdered. Like, you don't have to just highlight the fact that it was a trans person. That's not the only like relevant thing about that.
The shooting by the trans person, and so it was.
Dave's just so used to like dehumanizing trans people that he thinks that that's what he's supposed to do when there's children being murdered. In the previous time we watched Dave and Russell talk, they did talk about this person named Tommy Robinson. Just pull up his Wikipedia page. A British anti-Islam campaigner and one of the UK's most prominent far-right activists. He was a member of the British National Party, a British fascist political party, and then he was vice chairman of the British Freedom Party, co-founded the English Defence League, presents himself as an independent journalist. Russell would know something about that. Served 5 prison terms. Illegally entered the United States, which, that's not the worst thing he's done. Yeah, I mean, so basically he was convicted of using threatening, abusive, or insulting behavior during a fight, then arrested for breach of bail conditions. This is just someone they're about to mention and speak at length about. He said he was a political prisoner when he was arrested for breach of bail conditions, as he had been banned from attending a specific demonstration of this organization, that he led the group and played an integral part in starting a 100-man brawl of previously. Robinson, so just like an interesting far-right, guy for these two fellows to be chatting about. But I just wanted to give you just a little wiki background. Oh, he has acknowledged the dangers of far-right extremism. That's good. But he still thinks you have to counter Islamist ideology, so that's not great. It's a very long Wikipedia page, so there's really a lot to go into if you really wanted to. But this is not anything that they discuss on this podcast. They just talk about... First, they talk about that guy, Gran Linehan, who was arrested after tweeting that women should punch trans men in the balls if they're in female-only spaces. So that's confusing also because he means trans women. He just doesn't even understand the subject he's so activated about. But he's talking about trans women, just to make it clear, I think, right? Because he's saying in female-only spaces. So anyways, but he's saying literally he's advocating violence. So he was recently arrested and released after a short amount of time, I think. And, all the people who dehumanize trans people are like, oh my God, freedom of speech. But it's like he literally tweeted you should commit violence, which is a borderline thing to say and does actually push the limits of freedom of speech. That's just how the laws work, I think. But this was in the UK. Anyways, when they talk about it, here's what they say. And it connects to the Tommy Robinson thing.
Free speech arrests, whether it's Lucy Connolly or Graham Linehan, the brilliant writer of Father Ted, who's been arrested for sort of provocative stuff around trans posting. So
around trans posting. I just thought that was interesting. Russell has a phrase for it, I guess. It's called trans posting. Okay, Russell. Yikes.
The UK is at a very different moment. It feels febrile, hostile, hot. And it's so strange for me as a kind of expat living in the United States with the things that I'm contending with personally that connect, in my view, to media.
The lawsuit for sexual assault, the criminal case against him, I think he means.
Free speech, authoritarianism, and even, of course, the nature of the charges that I'm facing.
Charges of sexual assault, which we will see what happens.
In the UK, 'cause I spoke to Tommy Robinson yesterday, Dave, for an hour and a half, and he was...
So I didn't watch this interview. So I'm not trying to say that Russell didn't challenge this famous far-right activist. I mean, all I know is Russell spoke of him favorably in the previous time we saw him and Dave have a long conversation. And he mentioned him again. And then he interviewed him. He clearly has a lot of respect for this far-right activist.
Extremely, as he always is, lucid, cogent, a very good communicator.
Wow. Let's see. Maybe he's not doing anything bad anymore. Sorry, 2025 harassment allegations. On May 21st, 2025, Robinson was charged with harassment causing fear of violence against 2 Daily Mail journalists and was released on bail. Trial is scheduled for October. Just a few years ago, he refused to leave an area of the March Against Anti-Semitism. Okay. Why? Was he marching against anti-Semitism? Alleged assault a month ago. Was arrested on suspicion of assault. Just a week ago, police said he would not face charges because the victim refused to provide a statement. Oh, so it must mean that he didn't do anything wrong.
And when I was much more allied with the left, he talked about us like facing each other over a barricade once when I was turning up.
Wow.
What he said was, yeah, man. He was
And now you're on his side, Russell. Isn't that interesting, man? Huh.
saying about some sort of Muslim protest, which I don't, I'm very sympathetic to Muslims, and I believe in, I do believe in cohesion. And
okay, so did you push back when you did that extended interview with the famous far-right anti-Muslim activist? Because I'm not watching it. So you write into Verbal Journal Podcast. Let us know if you push back against the guy you just called lucid and cogent, who is a famous far-right anti-Muslim activist. I think that you are not a super positive, accepting person of people of all faiths, Russell. I actually think you push your religion and think it's better than other people's, which is the classic failing of anyone in trying to be spiritual, is to think that their spirituality is any more essential than other people's. That's when objectivity and subjectivity get confusing, maybe. I don't know. We'll explore that another time. And lastly, some more lying, in my opinion.
The most perfect day. And it's like...
Dave's talking about his vacation, because that's just what the episode was about, essentially.
I didn't have much of a desire to control the universe through...
He's saying, like, why do these billionaires... This is what they're joking about as they close out the episode. Why do the billionaires try to control the world? Why don't they just relax? I had this vacation, If I was a billionaire, I would just, try to chill out, which is, a fair point. The thing is, though, they tend to not mention billionaires like the world's most hoarding wealth individual, Elon Musk. They don't mention even Jeff Bezos. They mention Bill Gates and George Soros. They choose their billionaires that they hate very carefully.
I don't know, spreading a fake pandemic or injecting people with things, but maybe that...
So Dave just called the pandemic fake. Dave, over 1 million Americans died from the pandemic. We talked about it earlier on the episode. And that's just Americans. So it wasn't fake. Pandemics are actually real things that can happen. And that was a zootropic or zoonotic virus, probably. But even if it came out of a lab, it doesn't make it not a pandemic, dude. Which, by the way, it might have been zoonotic. But regardless, the pandemic actually was real. The virus was real and is real. The virus is still existing. It's morphed. It's done the things that viruses do. So the pandemic is real, and you should be ashamed of yourself. And your children will grow up one day, man. And they will see this. Both of you guys. Think about it. In 10 years, in 20 years, your children will be grown. They will see this. Your family and friends see this. You're calling the pandemic fake. You probably know people who died from COVID. Shame. All right, well, this is a podcast.